What's up, guys? This is the Gospel according to Mark with a C. He is I and I am he. Just taking some time to tell you exactly what's on my mind. And guys, before we go any further, I want to call your attention to the thumbnail that I'm going to be using for this video. That is actually an image of my son Xavier from about maybe 6 or 7 years ago. And Xavier was like a lot of little boys, you know, like around that age. He was probably about 3 or 4. And he was a very big Spider-Man fan, and actually he still is a very big Spider-Man fan. And you know, usually when he comes in, as cool as he thinks he is, I always see him fiddling around, you know, with his little Spider-Man action figure. It's probably his favorite thing these days. And actually, this is pretty cool. I like it too. You know, when he's not around, usually, you know, I'm messing around with it too. You know what I mean? And Spider-Man, Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. But anyway, guys, you know, sorry, it's the old nerd in me, guys. I can't help it. But actually, the topic of this is very sad, very, very, very sad. And I saw the story yesterday, and I kind of alluded to it when I was doing the other video. You know, that I did yesterday, and I want to talk a little bit more about it today. I want to share it with you because I do feel like this story needs as much exposure as possible, because it actually shows the shame and just how far Disney has fallen. All right, and it's the story of Lloyd Jones, who lost his precious son Ollie at 4 years old to a very, very rare disease. Now, there wasn't anything that Lloyd Jones could have done to stop what happened to his son, and I know the feeling of helplessness probably damn near has killed him. All right, but the one thing that he is trying to do, all right, is he's trying to memorialize his son, and he wants to use an etching of Spider-Man, which was his 4-year-old son's hero, on his gravestone. And Disney won't let him. You know what I mean? Disney won't let him. They're throwing legal terms at him, and you know, we got copyrights and all this shit that they're hanging over him. And I don't want to get into cussing and all this stuff because you know, this has got to be about Ollie. Okay, so I'm going to be respectful about this, but it burns me up and it hurts me to my heart, because I can only imagine what this poor father is going through. The one thing that he wants to do for his son, the one thing that he feels like he could do after watching his son die and he was helpless to stop it, the one thing that he's trying to do, they won't let him do it. I can't imagine how bad he must be hurting right now. But I want to share this story, and I want to give you a little bit of context on this, and I'm going to get back to my feelings on this in a minute. But this story that I'm going to share, I am sharing from the New York Post. And of course, I'm going to leave the link in the description box so you can check it out yourself. It says here, the headline, Disney denies dad's request to put Spider-Man on 4-year-old son's grave. It goes on to say, Disney reportedly refused to allow a grieving father in England to place an etching of Spider-Man on the grave of his 4-year-old son because, the media giant said, it wants to preserve the innocence and the magic of the company's characters. They want to preserve the innocence and the magic of their fictional characters. Well, look, let me show you some innocence and some magic. You see that? That's Lloyd Jones and his son Ollie. Look at Ollie's face. That, my friends, is innocence and magic. Ollie, you were too good for this world. It goes on to say, Ollie Jones, whose family lives outside London in the county of Kent, died of a rare genetic disease and was given a Spider-Man send-off. It featured a horse-drawn carriage decorated with red and blue balloons. Good job, Dad. British newspaper Metro reported. His family's last trip together had been to Disneyland so he could meet his beloved superhero. Ollie's dad, Lloyd Jones, reportedly asked the local council for permission to decorate the boy's gravestone with Spider-Man's likeness. He was referred to copyright owner Dizznee, that's a problem right there, which rejected the request. I felt sure they would allow it, Metro quoted him as saying. I would have been sure to, because actually that is the humane, compassionate, loving thing to do. Unfortunately, that's not what Disney stands for anymore, if it ever did. Lloyd said the movie giant is trying to disassociate their characters with death. They're trying to disassociate their characters with death, and thought the decision was about money. Okay, so Dizznee says they're trying to disassociate their characters with death. And of course, this would be the reason why they are putting together images, unused images of Carrie Fisher to exploit for money in December when Episode 9 Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker comes out. Okay. He added, that makes no sense to me. Characters die in their films all the time. Yeah. Not to mention, everyone dies sooner or later. So kids do have to learn about this, right? I think it's all about money. Yeah, I do too. Lloyd's brother Jason added, this meant everything to us. A company rep wrote, we follow a policy that began with Walt Disney himself that does not permit the use of characters on headstones, cemetery, or other memorial markers or funeral urns. Although we cannot grant the family's request, sadly, we would be pleased to commemorate your nephew with a hand-inked, hand-painted, personalized action frame from the movie that recognizes his love for Spider-Man, which will read, for your dash, insert your nephew's name here. They didn't even bother to learn the boy's name. How cold-blooded can you be? How ice cold can you be? Thank you for letting us share in the magic of your life, your friends at the Walt Disney Company. MICKEYMOUSE. Ollie's sister Layla, 6, also suffers from leukodystrophy, the disease that killed the boy. It damages the brain, spinal cord, and often peripheral nerves. Alright, so Mr. Jones not only had to watch his son, his 4-year-old son, die, he's also having to watch his 6-year-old daughter die. Now, there's no mention of Ollie's or Layla's mother in this article. Hopefully, you know, she's in the picture. I don't know. But this could be all this man has, you know, as far as his children, as far as his life. And this is something that he has to go through. I can't even imagine. I remember, you know, when my brother passed away, I was holding my mother in my arms as he was slipping away. And when he was pronounced and they called it, the way her body tensed up, you know, the way that she cried. My mother, she's such a beautiful woman, you know. And parents would do anything to protect their children. Ollie was only 4, and my brother was considerably older. But to parents, it's still their baby, it's still their child. I watched my father break down and cry. There's nothing that we could have done to stop it. There's nothing that Lloyd Jones could have done to stop what happened to his son and what's happening to his daughter. He's trying to do the only thing that he can do. Dizznee, let him. Let him. What does it mean? What does copyright mean? What does any of this stuff mean? We're here. We live. It's a miracle. Life is a miracle. We're all connected some way, somehow. And I've always said that death is for the living. Don't look for death to make any sense from the point of view of the person who passed away. It's on us to learn the lessons of death in life so that we might learn to do things differently. We might learn to be compassionate to each other and to love each other and to treat each other right. But Dizznee, you're failing. This man is reaching out to you in grief, in tragedy, and you come back at him with some legal bullshit. You don't deserve anything. You don't deserve riches. You don't deserve success. You don't deserve it. You don't deserve it. You don't deserve people to go to Galaxy's Edge or to patronize your movies. You don't care. The only thing you care about is money. That's it. There's no other way you can see this story. No other way at all. And you should be ashamed. Let this man do what he's begging to do. It might just get him through. I remember when my brother passed away, my mother wanted to go with him. Everything we did in the following days was to help her to realize that we needed her too. To live, that my brother would want her to live. This man might have to hold on to this. every time he goes to his son's grave, it might help him in some way to see this etching, to feel connected to his son. Why would you deny him that? Dizznee, man, this just blows me away. You know, over the years, I've seen some I'm trying not to cuss here, for Ollie, I've seen some messed up things from Dizznee, you know, that make me, like, seriously doubt, like, their humanity. But this is rock bottom, man. It's like I did videos talking about, other people who, as their last request, wanted to see The Last Jedi. You know, I think it was Ron Villamire. You know, I talked about him. You know, I talked about a young woman named Kira, you know, whose dying wish was to see the Avengers Endgame. You know, and these people, these things, they belong to the fans. This is what I was talking about before. You know, one of the criticisms that the Fandom Menace gets is that these things, these properties don't belong to us, but I beg to differ. They do. You can't tell this 4-year-old boy, Ollie, who didn't even get to know what love was between a man and a woman, but he knew what love was for his hero, for Spider-Man. And his father felt that love. They bonded with that. The same way that I bonded with my son when he was 3 and 4 years old, and we used to play and we used to be silly, you know? And this is what he has to hold on to. You don't deny a man that type of thing. There's no reason for it. How does copyright even play into this? What is he going to do? Produce another movie? No. He's just trying to memorialize his son. And you talk about innocence and magic. Let me remind you of something, Dizznee. Alright, just hold on, guys. I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to read something to you. You tell me if this sounds familiar. When you wish upon a star, makes no difference who you are. Anything your heart desires will come to you. If your heart is in a dream, no request is too extreme. When you wish upon a star, as dreamers do, fate is kind. She brings to those who love the sweet fulfillment of their secret longing. Like a bolt out of the blue, fate steps in and sees you through. When you wish upon a star, your dreams come true. Remember when that meant something, Dizznee? You put that before all of your movies, right? For those of you who don't know, who might be young, that song, When You Wish Upon a Star, I believe that played in Pinocchio, and that's the tune that they play at the beginning of every Disney movie, you know. That's innocence. That's magic. That's something that every child believes in. That's something that Ollie believed in. I don't even know what more to say. To Lloyd Jones, please be strong. You might be feeling helpless. You might be feeling alone. But Ollie has touched millions. I want you to know that. Your son's life meant something. It meant more than people who live to be 4, 5, 6 times his age. Because we're going to make sure that everybody knows his name. We're going to make sure that everybody knows about your beautiful children. And we're going to make sure that you know that we support you. And I believe there's a petition that's going around too. If I can find it, I'm going to leave it in the description box, so please check there, guys. Alright? Let me know how you feel about this, guys. You can like, you can share, you can subscribe, you can comment. You can check me out on Twitter. And, you know, guys, you know, as we go forward with this Fandom Menace thing, you notice how life is starting to get more and more real, how this thing is starting to get more and more relevant and personal. I'm sure I'll be back to singing and acting silly in no time and everything, but this is what makes us stronger. Alright, guys, that's it for now. I'm going to catch you on the next one, and please take care of yourselves and hug your children. This is the Gospel According to Mark with a C. Rock on.